Hey, what's going on? Ryan here at Triathlon.com, and we're here to do some more quick live tips for you here. We're going to talk about downhill bike cadence. So this is if you're riding your bike downhill, my suggestions on what you should do when you're riding downhill, if you should do anything. So we're going to run through these really quick. If you're, well, and I'm also talking about running and biking, so we'll kind of hit both of those. So if you're doing running, rolling hills, I kind of compare that to Indian Wells on the run course. You go through a golf course, so it was just up and down hills constantly. So it was very interesting. But what I like to do is you speed up to ride the momentum up the next hill. So at the bottom of the downhill, you're kind of you don't want to put the brakes on. You want to keep going and then ride that momentum up the little hill, especially if they're really short little rollers. You can really ride that momentum up and down those hills, and you really don't lose much. But if you're getting down large hills, I like to find a good spot for cadence, especially if you're going downhill for a long period of time. Because if you go too fast, you end up losing the balance of face planning, or too slow, and you pay for it by pounding quads with high impact. So if you're also trying to go really fast too, going downhill, you're really going to pound those quads, and you're really going to pay for it. It's almost worse than trying to run up a hill, going down a hill as fast as you can, or going super slow, because you're really impacting the quads, and you're really making those big muscle groups work extra hard, basically putting on the brakes when you're going down a hill. So running rollers, try to keep the cadence up and try to go up and down those hills. Try to keep the same cadence. Really pick it up at the bottom of the hill. Try to carry it up and crusty over. And if you're running down large hills, just find a good sweet spot cadence where you're not really pounding it, but you're also not going super slow as a snail. So for bike rollers, it's kind of the same theory. You're going down to try to find right gear to keep speed, but not force spin wildly. A great grind to get speed. So anywhere from 65 to 95 RPM. So if you're doing rolling hills, you really don't want to just spin the legs as fast as possible, especially if you're going down a steep hill. If you can't spin the legs fast enough and you're not getting good gearing, good grab to really get anything beneficial out of pedaling, you can just roll it in to the next hill, but then find that speed and then start pedaling and start downshifting so you can get into at least 95 RPMs. And we get to that rolling hill, you're about 65 RPM, so you're really cresting. You're not having to grind. Maybe you have to stand up a little bit on the pedals when you're coming to the top of that hill and you're rolling over it. But really, you want to keep a nice smooth cadence. And like I said, if you get to a point where you're spinning your legs so fast that you can't really keep up, especially if you're in the highest gear or something like that, it might be just time to coast it until you get down to the point where you can start downshifting and then start pedaling to get back up into the spin to go up to the next hill and just keep that momentum cresting over. So that way you don't get to the top of the hill and you have to sit there and recover and rest and then just glide over the next hill. You want to be able to kind of roll into the next hill and take that momentum from hill to hill. Especially like this around, Ironman Chattanooga has a nice rolling hill course. So once you crest that little hill, you come up the next one, you're just rolling it. Ironman Des Moines had some good little hills like that, so you kind of crest over little hills. Keep that momentum up and going, up and down. If you get to the bottom of the hill and you start cranking in the high gear, you're 65, 50 RPMs. By the time you get to the top, you're going to need that rest, and you're just going to be like out of gas and out of juice. Biking down large hills, it's super steep, 20 plus miles per hour, coast or rest for the next hill, or flat rolling cadence needed for whatever's next. So, like I said, if you're going downhill and you have to spin your legs really fast to even keep any kind of power on the pedals or anything like that, probably just best to just coast down the hill, try to get as aero as possible, and get some recovery going until the next. You're either going to downhill, or if you're going to a flat rolling section, just kind of easily, gradually shift the gears into a point where you got some good grab and you can find your race effort, either effort or power or whatever you're going for. You can ease back into that and find that nicely. Again, I don't like to see people when they're going downhill trying to just cram on the gears as hard as possible, try to get as fast as possible, because you're really not getting as much bang for your buck. You're spending a lot of energy and you're really not getting that much out of it, to where you can just coast, probably get 1 to 2 miles per hour less, even if that, and then you can recover and get that energy and use that for the next uphill or whatever flat section or wherever you're going into. And I like to throw it in there for fun. If you're swimming hills, stay on top of the water as best you can, stay long, and let the current do the work. So, if you're going out there like an Ironman Florida and you got waves or something like that, if you're going with the waves, try to stay on top as much as possible and coast with it. If you're swimming into the waves, you got to do the best you can. Like I said, just try to stay on top of it, especially if you're out there in the open water. And just what I like to do is try to get the arms over the waves. So last thing you want to do is crash your arms into the waves, because then you're just kind of basically sliding on the brakes. But you want to get up over the hills, and you're really reaching to keep that especially in Florida 2021. We had some wicked currents on the backside trying to get back, going, I believe, east in the Gulf there. For whatever reason, we swam right in the wind. There was chop. There was all kinds of weird. You just when you swam out from the beach, it wasn't a problem. When you got out there to the turnaround, it was just crazy. But basically, it's just you're reaching over the waves as much as possible, and you're kind of riding the waves as much as you can when you're going back to shore. It's just really about surfing those waves into the shore and using it to the best of your ability. So I know I ran through those kind of quick, but I want to make sure that I kept your attention focused on those. If you're seeing on Facebook, help you out, give a like. Seeing on YouTube, give a like, subscribe, hit notification buttons. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'd like to get back to you if you have any comments or anything like that, or anything to add. I'll get back to you, and I get notifications of those, and I try to answer all of them. So with that, happy training out there, and good luck, and enjoy the downhill.